Now, if we are choosing the aerobic pathway, pyruvate is going to need to move into the mitochondria first, because remember, the aerobic steps can only occur in the mitochondria. So since we chose to do aerobic, we are going to move pyruvate into the mitochondria. And then at this point, we can go on with our next steps, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through that using our diagrams. So here it's showing us what would happen to our pyruvate structure. So remember that the only reason that we gave back the hydrogens and electrons was because we chose anaerobic, and with anaerobic we do not have our cashier to cash them out for energy. Now we've chosen aerobic, which means we can have those hydrogens and electrons cashed out for energy. So because of that, we're going to continue collecting our hydrogens and electrons. We're not going to give them back to pyruvate. Remember, pyruvate only became lactate when it was given the hydrogens and electrons back. It's not going to take those hydrogens and electrons now, because the coenzymes want to keep collecting them because they can actually do something with them. So because of that, in the aerobic pathway, pyruvate is actually not going to be converted into lactate. It's not going to be getting those hydrogens and electrons from the coenzymes. The coenzymes are going to hold on to them and keep collecting them. Instead, what's going to happen is, again, pyruvate is made out of 3 carbons. In the aerobic pathway, one of the carbons is going to be removed off of pyruvate, and the remaining 2 carbons are going to attach to a coenzyme called coenzyme A. And the structure that we end up with is the 2 carbons from pyruvate with coenzyme A attached. This structure over here is what we call acetyl-CoA. So again, in the aerobic pathway, again, we're still starting off with pyruvate, but instead of it being converted into lactate, it's going to be converted into acetyl-CoA this time. The way we do that is we remove 1 carbon off of pyruvate, the remaining 2 carbons attach to coenzyme A, and that creates our acetyl-CoA structure. Acetyl-CoA can then go ahead and move on to the next step of our aerobic pathway, which is the TCA cycle. Now, this over here is showing you what we just covered, but it is reminding you that glucose actually makes 2 pyruvate units. So the picture that we just saw was just showing us what happens to 1 pyruvate, but this is just a reminder that we're actually going to be doing that process twice, because with glucose we actually make 2 pyruvate units, so both of those pyruvates will end up being converted into acetyl-CoA.